on? I think we
Yeah,
are.
we're already on.
Hey,
this is a new medium for us.
This YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube is a whole different thing.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome everybody back to Sistas Law this Sunday, and welcome back my co-host.
I am so glad to be back, but I must tell you I had a marvelous time in Washington, D.C. The purpose of the trip, or one of the main purposes, was to go to the African American Museum of History and Culture, a fabulous dedication to our people, but more importantly to American history.
That's what it's about.
It's really about just American history. Yeah. And you had a survey of American history from late 1400s to the present day.
Yes, I saw it when they started in 2015 when they were saying it was going to open up in September 2016, and I should have thought back then to get some tickets because it's like almost as bad as Hamilton right now.
On a real tip, yes, I do get my tickets a few months in advance. Online, the tickets are free. The tickets are free. However, we got a second day, me and Mike, at the museum. All you need to do is go there about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, wait in line, and we were in by 1 o'clock with the assistance of, we would have gotten in anyway.
We know you have some Spellman hookup that got you in there.
Anyway, but it was quite lovely, and I encourage everyone, every American to
it's an American icon. I mean, it's part of the Smithsonian. And I think that, African American history is a part of American history.
It's substantial.
And I think that I actually will give kudos to, even though it was bought up under the Reagan administration, it wasn't until Bush too.
Well, actually, let's even go further back because there was some history in there. The legislation, or at least the idea, was put in place formally by Congress, if you will, in the 30s.
Oh, wow.
And no one has really gotten behind
it. But not a drop of money went into it.
We won't talk about
it was
the
a thought.
symbolism.
I guess it's
but
a thought that counts.
Still, we were, I guess, progressive enough at that time. I don't know how to phrase it. But this began in the 30s. 1930s, ladies and gentlemen. And it actually was George Bush who allowed the situation so that the first stone could be unturned.
But you know what I do appreciate, because it could have taken as long or as short of time. We know if we really want to build something, we can build it. And how under the administration of President Barack Hussein Obama, they did actually get it finished.
Correct.
Before he left office. And I think that is history in itself, that the African American Museum was completed under the administration of the first African American president. So that's a little history in itself, and I'm so glad that
and mind you, many folks of all cultures were inside this museum enjoying the contributions of Americans.
I'm sure. A lot of the things were in the Smithsonian. I think one of the most beautiful museums I have gone to date was actually the Holocaust Museum in Washington. So I'm sure that the African American Museum, it stands out.
Yes,
One,
it
is bronze, and the rest
out.
of the buildings in Washington, D.C. are of white marble.
Well, it certainly inspired me to go back to D.C. on more than just every few years, but to go back and to visit all of the museums. And one of the museums on my list is indeed the Holocaust Museum.
Yes, the Holocaust Museum does makes you think. And even though the Holocaust primarily did not, happen here on U.S. soil, we were probably the largest country in the world that took the families that were kind of just dispersed across the world, and our Jewish communities, one of our cherished communities here in the United States.
And that's what the United States is about. It's the diaspora of the various cultures of all over the world.
That's why I guess it's really disturbing as we come into a place in our history now that any group, be it Jews or African Americans, I mean, although we didn't voluntarily come, we came here under a boat. I always have to throw that in there. That's exactly why, if you look at the museum, it looks like a giant ship.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think that was coincidental. No. But notwithstanding, as we know, we just had this unfortunate, attack in England. And lives, of course, were taken, And, most of our presidents have passed, most of our sane and compassionate and dutiful leaders of our country have always thought fit to come out to the garden and to the podium and give some thoughts of compassion and thoughts of warmth and the fact that we as Americans stand with our British
words of support
brothers and sisters in Britain. They've always been our greatest allies, but we have the narcissistic maniac.
What did the 45th say? Let's just get right down to it. What did he say?
The mayor of England, in support of his people and his country in his city, thought fit to keep the morale up, to keep the morale of his people up, and to say that that they should not be afraid and they should not worry, that they should continue their lives, that they not be stifled.
Yes.
And the 45th, the best that he could respond to that is, "Are you kidding?" And then make a reason why we should now reconsider his Muslim ban.
So he made a political statement out of it. But let's dial it back many years to when we were attacked at 9/11.
Yes.
Rudy Giuliani, the mayor at that particular time, made a very good point about moving on with your life and do not get alarmed. Essentially, we will overcome this. The same kind of message that the mayor of was it London?
Mayor of
London.
Mayor of London.
Did Don chime in and say, "Are you kidding"? I don't think he.
You know what? I think because he saw that the mayor of England, of London, England, was actually a Muslim. Maybe in his mind he saw the reflection of those hundreds of Muslims who were supposedly in New Jersey cheering as 9/11 fell down. Maybe that's the same kind of crazy mentality we're dealing with. This should not be funny. Because it's not funny.
No.
It really is not a kiki hee hee moment. There are lives that were lost in England last night, and you know where our president is? He's on his golf course right now. He felt that a tweet was enough. I mean, it's not enough that you basically turn your back on NATO. You turn your back on all of the sovereign countries who signed the climate agreement. President Obama just signed this in August 2016.
Well, let's be clear about the Paris Agreement that we backed down on.
No, he backed it on. He didn't go by. He didn't ask us.
Well, that's very true. When I say we in terms of the United States backed out on, as with the great assistance of the 45th. He's just doing this because he has a problem with the successes of the prior administration. He's not doing it for any kind of, intelligent move. I don't know what he's indicating that it's going to cost us a whole lot of money. Yet and still, the rest of America, or many other states as well as many other cities within the United States, are going to move forward and deal with these issues as
what it does, it allows him to continually infiltrate into our view on a daily basis, not even day by day, minute by minute, just continual tomfoolery, or should I say Trumpfoolery. Because if we're not speaking Trumpfoolery on a loop, he has to throw something in like cafefe.
Well,
cafefe.
Aren't we kind of doing this now?
No, you know what?
Because we're talking about him. Are there other things that we could be talking about?
Because what I choose not to do is to act like what we are doing here in America is normal. Because lives were lost in England by a bomb. Mm-hmm. And be it 9 or 900, lives were lost in Afghanistan.
And it's been confirmed that it was a terrorist attack?
Exactly. They've already arrested 3.
Okay.
They've already arrested 3.
All right.
But see, we think about the immediate lives lost, but what the 45th is doing, he's still killing us slowly. He's killing our ability to be civil to one another. Our country's always been a country of parties. That's the way we have our political parties, and we've Green Party, we've had the Tea Party, we've had of course Democrats and Republicans and liberal parties. We are now just it's like a blood sport right now. Every single day it is this divisiveness.
Well, also when I was in D.C., I had an opportunity to go to the museum. And the museum is essentially a testament to the free press, dating back to the birth of our nation back in the 1700s. And it kind of gave me a perspective on what was going on today with respect to what was going on back then. Mm-hmm. And I would suggest to you that the politicians of today would be hard-pressed to even compete with the vitriol that was going on at that particular time.
But they kept it going. The press kept pressing on.
They kept pressing on.
But see, this is how.
So this might be light stuff.
No, but this man is trying to start a dictatorship, because now he's saying that he may not even do any more press conferences. He may just give a monthly or weekly address himself, and basically that's all you get.
Well, that might be good for us. Because then we can just go on and actually report.
Maybe we can stop thinking about the fact that 33% of the State Department is being decreased. He's decreasing environmental protection, 32%.
Well, keep going. So you're talking. That's the 45th
his
proposed budget. But that's not going anywhere.
But see, this is what I'm saying is that we've been talking about how he loves the uneducated, how he wants to make jobs for the less fortunate in our country.
Yes.
But the things that he's cuts the things that the less fortunate in our country need.
Of course.
Food stamps. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. People, as much as we want to always can put a black face on food stamps are used by Jews, whites, African Americans, Hispanic. If you go
they
over,
help all Americans.
It is an American need for those who need it. It does not come with your DNA. It's those who need it, and I think he's cutting SNAP. He's cutting the children health care.
But again, proposals.
These are proposals. But
that's the callousness of his heart. I agree with you from that standpoint.
But he wants to boost military
defense. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's boosting anything but the military.
But the military But if it's more important for us to fight and like I said, when he was in Saudi Arabia. He did a punk move. He bent down and got his little trophy over his head. Saudi Arabia has added to more of ISIL than any other country. And he sat there and basically kissed the ring, said nothing. He said nothing. Give me my little gold chain.
I don't necessarily understand that at all. I understand the message that he was trying to convey in terms of, yes, you need to stop.
But do you want to go to England and start talking smack? Are you serious? And then he like that. Look. I forget your name, President of Paris, but
Macron.
I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly, probably more than anything like that. Macron. But when Donald Trump goes in on the push pull.
Yes, you mean within terms of.
Oh yes, the man shake. He said, "Look, old man, let me show you how to shake." He did the opposite and wouldn't let 45th hand go.
That's so funny.
But why are we sitting there playing piss wars with presidents of countries because he was so offensive, shoving people. Our children.
Well,
our children.
Montenegro.
Our children are watching our president. If there's any person that should be an icon, someone who we want our children to say, I want to be. The greatest thing in the world when we were younger, even though we never thought it probably would happen in our lifetime, is the ability to say, I can be president. And for a woman to say, I can be president. For us to even say we could grow up and be lawyers and judges and doctors and CEOs of companies. And we can, and we've proved that. Except we didn't get our woman yet, but misogynism is alive and well. I do think Hillary, if I might say, let me tell you, Hillary, and I love you, girl, but there is nothing you're going to say. The left is not going to admit that misogyny went on because many of them wanted Bernie Sanders. The right is not going to admit because they want to call you crooked only because, the crooked knows crooked. That's how Donald Trump put all of Fifth Avenue onto his payroll. I think everybody at Saks.
So what are you saying to Hillary?
So what I'm saying to Mrs. Clinton, I'm going to respect you and I'm going to give you pound because we go back all the way to 21 years of age and all the work that you have done in this country. And I'm not going to disrespect you in any way, shape, or form. And you keep working hard to do whatever it is that you can to be a positive to our country. And to be a light for women, I think that it is.
Okay,
That's positive.
What are you saying about Hillary? Because I'll say this about Hillary. I agree with everything that you said in terms of the work that she's done and the fights that she's fought. But I would like for her to stop talking about the election.
No.
I'd like her to just move on.
Well, that's what I would see. I think that's easy to say. You know what? Because it didn't happen to you. It didn't happen. Bernie Sanders is still talking about it. Nobody's telling Bernie Sanders to stop talking.
It's a sexist thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what?
Then let me say this across the board.
Because nobody wants to call it what it is.
Bernie, everybody else.
Misogynism.
Let's stop talking about the election. Let's move forward with how we deal with the results of that election, because let
me tell you how crazy it is. I'm looking on Phil Murphy, who's running for governor of New Jersey. And for all of you from New Jersey, remember we have primaries on Tuesday the 6th. Make sure you go out and vote.
And Virginia people
and
too.
Virginia.
All right.
So somebody is online saying that. All of you guys who are going out there and voting for another Goldman Sachs, that Phil Murphy was a Goldman Sachs guy. All you're doing is putting more coffers into Trump. I think it's some independent that is. I think it's Jim Johnson. I think that they're the other Democrat that's running. But let me tell you something, folks. And this is just my opinion. We're in a country that is a Democrat and Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, and all that you want. And I'm going to just come right on out and give my opinion. For all of you guys who supported Bernie Sanders, if he really thought he could win, then he should have ran as an independent. He should not have corrupted the Democratic Party by acting like he was a Democrat just for the purposes of trying to win the election. Because what he did, and I'm going to say it for you, Hillary, he took the election with his tomfoolery of free education and free medical care that you should have known based on all of the work that President Obama did, that it was not going to happen.
So what's that got to do with Phil Murphy?
So what it has to do, because this person who was on this line was telling folks to vote for this third party person, do not fall into that third party person nonsense and jack up our elections here in New Jersey. Because
well, what are the polls saying about Murphy was
Murphy is doing fine.
Because there are other people running. That are, if you will, more credible.
Giordano, you Republicans, y'all worry about her because she's an extension of Christie. So if that's what y'all want, y'all do that.
She's going to win more than that. She's going to win her primary.
We have Johnson and Wisnicki, who's on the Democratic side, because I am a proud Democrat. But the thing that I'm talking about is that we don't have time for these games, because we need to win back the House and the Senate and the Congress.
Well, I think
and they
more- I
usually
think
come to
more of-
power.
I think
We
more
need-
of what that individual, and there have been many individuals that have kind of questioned the Phil Murphy train or any particular line that we happen to get on. When I say we, the Democrats, even though I'm not really a Democrat, I'm kind of like an independent. But notwithstanding, it's like what does
I'm
that
down
do-
with the dig.
what does that gain you? What benefit do you get out of it? So you go
If you don't
in, you vote,
participate, you don't
I didn't
get
say-
anything.
I'm not saying not participating, but in
Okay.
terms of just because Phil Murphy is a popular guy, why do I have to vote for that individual?
You know what? You
And
don't.
just because,
but if you
just-
don't vote for somebody for a reason, if you believe that because the President Obama and Vice President came and really the Vice President came and supported Phil Murphy, that for some reason
I suggest
you know,
to you that most people who are voting for Phil Murphy, outside of it, with the exception, you don't know why they're voting for him other than he's the most popular and then he's giving
No,
them the most
I
money.
well, I
I'll
can say
bet
for
you that.
myself, I've had a conversation.
Well,
with,
you have,
with Phil Murphy.
but the masses,
I've had a
the
conversation not with
masses.
just Phil Murphy, with his wife. He came here to our city, and I've watched him speak at other cities.
Right.
And I actually went online and but you know what? I don't just do this with Phil Murphy. I
Right.
do this with anybody I have
Well,
voted for.
let me just suggest I don't think the vast part of the
I
electorate.
would have if it was head of the school board. I wanted to know who was guiding my child
But
at
that's
school.
you. So the question is,
But we can't.
let's hope that the electorate is as educated as you are and happens to do the research that you do. But at
Well,
the
you
end
know
of
what?
the day,
I say
at
if
the
you
end of
don't,
the
that's
day-
why I'm here.
At the end of
to
the day,
help you along.
Let's just say Murphy wins the primary, and let's just say he goes loggerheads with I'm just going to Giordano. And let's just say, just based on past history, because I think everybody's sick of Christie, they look upon Giordano as an extension of Christie. So she's probably not going to win.
I think she's more than an extension.
She's probably not going to win.
We
She's
forgot
probably not
the
gonna win.
Hoboken Gate. We always had the
Yeah,
Bridge
well,
Gate. Let's go to
let's-
Hoboken where
let's-
she was giving information
She's
to
probably not gonna
the
win.
mayor,
My only
Mayor
point
Zimmerman
is- my
on
point is-
information
yes.
for Christie. Yes, let's talk about it.
Well, we don't even have to. I don't think she's going to win. That's just as my personal opinion.
But see, unless we do our work, unless we
She's
do
not
our
winning.
work and not
Yeah.
just vote just because somebody else voted, or that's who my grandmama voted on that side. Because most of our great grandparents voted Republican. For all of you who didn't know, Martin Luther King was a Republican.
I'm not sure about that. They
He
say that. They
turned.
say that. They
He
say that.
turned
I'm
at
not sure about
Kennedy.
that. They
He
try to
turned
claim
at
that, but I'm
Kennedy.
like, I don't believe that he necessarily was. But it doesn't matter. Your point was that black folks.
I did my research.
Okay.
Well, I try not to just spew out stuff because that's what I think about.
I'm not saying you did it, but I've also done the research. I was a member of the Republican Party, and I saw where they claimed him. Then when I did research into it, I saw letters and things saying that he was never part of it. But they just claimed him for whatever reason.
Well, I think it may not have been because of the registration, because it wasn't too far before him that you couldn't even register.
That's
to vote.
true.
So,
but I guess your point is that years ago, the large majority of African Americans were indeed Republican, and one of the reasons they were Republican because after Lincoln,
they thought the
freed
best
slave.
thing. One of our other great misnomers. Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation that never freed not one slave. He had good intentions, but he did not even free his own slaves. So, as much as I give all of my praise for the thought, in the midst of his mental illness, which we talked about in May, because yes, Lincoln suffered from mental illness.
All right.
Yes,
okay.
he did. There's things that we don't talk about.
That's true.
And that's one of them.
He
He was a bipolar depression, and you know what? So when we talk about history, we only want to talk about the things that make us feel good. He did attempt to do something right. It just did not go anywhere. But it did move us into the right direction.
Okay.
And that's probably what I value. But I do take deference when
All right,
people
so-
say that he did something that he actually didn't do.
So, but black folks, for whatever reason, for that one reason, one of the main reasons is because that man, Lincoln, was a Republican.
Yes.
So all of a sudden they became
Yes,
Republicans.
yes, yes.
And let's just say it's not even that man, it was just that the Republicans were responsible ultimately for the freeing or the emancipation of slavery.
Yes.
Okay. So
I mean, it's
So
not like I said.
Martin
It's
Luther
not.
King-
It's not a really an argument. I respectfully understand even why President Obama gave a lot of homage to Lincoln, because it's everything takes a moment. Just because you sign off on it today
Right.
doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. As much as people don't want to give Hillary Clinton any credit whatsoever, she started healthcare back in the 90s. She didn't go anywhere, and yes, they knocked her down. And when President Obama came in, he kind of picked up the mantle from basically the shell that she had started, and with her assistance,
I think
a man was able to do it where a woman they weren't
in
going
our
to allow.
lifetime, I think that Hillary Clinton was one of the individuals who was trying to push for at least a single payer healthcare or healthcare for Americans. But this has been on the table for years. This was on the table back in the time
60s,
when FDR did the whole New Deal thing. It's just that
I'm just tired. I'm really.
So
I
it
guess
just takes years for things.
I
to
guess
move
as
forward.
a woman, and not even, I don't care if her name was Clinton. We want to talk about what her husband did. Come on, we can talk about what the 45th did as far as their horrible treatment of women. But I you know what? As a woman, I'm going to be ride or die for Hillary because I believe that unless we recognize that things, she had a lot of bad things on that she shouldn't. And you know what she said to me. Not to me directly, but I took it in when she was at the tech convention. She said, people had a misunderstanding that she was going to win. As much as
what
she
convention?
had, yes, she
What
was.
convention
She spoke at the tech convention and tech convention, the Code in California last week.
Okay.
And she admitted some things that she probably hadn't said before, because it matters to me. As women, I think we often do. We kick each other aside. You don't win, and then we got all of the reasonable things why we can talk about a misogynistic megalomaniac every day. So I'm going to put this, and maybe this is my last conversation I'm going to give on Hillary, unless she does something else or says something else that I find is important. But I am not going to be just another one that kicks her in the head, because that's all I heard from both Democrats and Republicans all daggone week.
All right, but on Tuesday we got a primary.
Yes.
And on Tuesday, one is going to be taking place in New Jersey, and one is going to be taking place in
New Jersey,
Virginia,
in the house of my family in Virginia.
And I think we were talking about voting. You were talking about your support for Phil Murphy, and I was trying to say why Phil Murphy. What, at the end of the day, let's just say that Phil Murphy is governor of the state of New Jersey. What does that do for our community?
I think for us, we will continue to build on infrastructure. We will continue to build on the educational needs of our community. I think he is going to look steadfast at some of the issues that, if in fact the 45th gets away with what he wants, he's going to make it everything by the state. Well, and if it's going to be the state governors,
I guess I'm now making it more local, because now, assuming all that, Wisnicki could in fact win. Who knows? But let's just assume Murphy wins and he becomes the purveyor of power and the doler, and he is now in a position to dole out whatever he plans to dole out. Who's he doling it out to? How's it going to, the same kind of thing happened when Christie won. He started doling things out. He took things away, but he also was doling things out. Ultimately, I don't know if anything
that's how
is
every
really,
government is.
Exactly. So is anything really going to change? I guess that's my point.
Well, you know what? I think at the end of the day, I believe
vote with expectations.
That if you
vote, not that many,
vote for a reason. Even if just for this weekend you go and you look at the resumes of each of the candidates, and make your own reason. I could give you 90,000 reasons of why I think you should vote for, not just for Phil Murphy. You got Green in East Orange.
Well, he's the only one running.
Well, he's the only one running. But you know what? But you know what? If you don't know why you're voting for him, and I mean, you should vote no matter what. But at least have a articulable reason as to why you're voting for somebody. Not because even if it's only one name.
I think you should also.
And it's important. Voting is something that we had to actually fight for. Not many other
the
cultures
United
in this
States
country
in general doesn't vote.
Well, they're trying to cut voting the way it is under the 45th. I think that's one of the things that our governor, whoever the governor is, and this is, to be honest, I don't care. We're one of those states, New Jersey. We go blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. Seems like every other governor. But I don't think whoever is going to be the governor of New Jersey,
Democratic.
We are not going to ever let anybody come in and tell us that we can't vote. And that's Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Catholic, Mormon,
As we move forward
yes.
in this election season, I think that we also need to have a more expanded discussion on gerrymandering. Because there have been some recent rulings that have come out of the Supreme Court that have been, I'll say, favorable, or at least they've denied various aspects of the Voting Rights Act, and now they're going to consider whether or not political parties actually can be put into that mix of discrimination. In other words, if a legislature has drawn the lines in such a way that it favors one political party over another, they're trying to come up with a system by which they can decide if that is discrimination. I mean, on its face, of course it is, but it's not one of the things that we normally recognize as discrimination.
That we will explain, because I think we started that back when we
on some of our tape shows. But
we're going to talk about that, and I think can have a good, a true conversation.
All right. So I think we're about at an end, my Sarah.
Yes, we
with
are.
Sistas Law, and I ask that you share. Join the conversation. We're on a different medium now. We're on YouTube, so I'm not seeing a whole lot of people chiming in.
Well, YouTube is a little bit different.
It is, but you can
still participate and ask questions.
And we're new. Yes. We're at a new time. We're in our summertime at 1:00.
Yes,
but
we know you have things to do.
Yeah, but moving forward, Instagram, YouTube,
Twitter.
Facebook.
And ladies and gentlemen, all of our shows that we do on YouTube will be transferred over to our Facebook page. And there you still can ask questions. Myself or Attorney Roz will always answer you. We still have
topics.
The Facebook, our website still needs some work, but the pictorial that we got going on there. But even there is a place where you can send us some questions, and we will answer you. So thank you again. We really appreciate you, and we will see you next Sunday on Sistas and Law on YouTube channel at 1:00. Thank you very, very much.
With Judge T. Say your name.
Judge T.
And Rosalyn Charles.
All righty. Bye-bye.